So our next module is going to be user experience and user interface, but this week specifically talking about what is user interface, or I'm sorry, what is user experience, why is it important, what makes good user experience, and how do we prepare for, making good and educated designs that provide a positive user experience. So what is user experience? It is the combination of looking, understanding, and then making for your design. This practice centers around developing solutions in service of people. So that could be your consumer, that could be your viewer, your audience. It's not strictly something that just designers use, but also just creative people and artists. And good design is typically rooted in, but not limited to, research methods, practicing empathy onto your user base, troubleshooting, prototyping, innovation, and just having the capacity to grow and evolve with society. So the three aspects of UX kind of broken down into, like I said, looking, understanding, and making. So the first one is looking. This is basically just a bunch of different research methods. And I'm not going to go into the fine details of what each one is, but you should basically have an understanding that anytime we're starting a new design, we should be doing research around who is the user base, how are they going to use this product, how are they going to interact with the interface, how are they going to view the work, and what are those emotional, physical responses that the user will experience from the work. So ethnographic research is like a very popular method that many designers use, where they use practices such as like interviewing their demographic, their user-based demographic. They observe people in their environments. They interview people in the people's environments, and they immerse themselves in the environments. And then, of course, like there's other like participation and evaluation. We will be going over heuristic evaluation next week, I think. But starting off, you want to do research. Who are you making this for, and why, and who are these people, and understand these people. So that brings us to understanding. And these are practices that, like once you have your research, you're going to analyze it. And you're going to see where are the opportunities, where are problems going to arise, trying to future-proof for problems. It's, maybe you don't, it's not necessarily always smart to follow what's trending, but something that would, and to create something that's trending or following the trend, but also to consider past trends and the history and, how other companies, how other designers have produced work, and how has it been successful or unsuccessful. But it's basically, taking that research and kind of sitting with it. Usually there's like collaboration and critique and stuff involved, but once you're done kind of understanding the research and analyzing the research, you would move on to prototyping and creation of the work. So a lot of this stuff is like not every designer is going to do all of these things, or use all of these research methods, or use all these analytic techniques. what works for you might not work for someone else, what the certain projects may call for different combinations of these methods. Thumbnail sketching, ideation, like you should be sketching all the time. If you're creating any sort of work, any sort of creative work, you should be sketching. Doesn't need to be pretty, but it's a good practice of like getting your ideas out there. Even if you're moving into Adobe Illustrator or After Effects, the digital space, you should be sketching those things out on paper, because that's so much easier just to flip a page and draw a new one or erase. Like, you can kind of get your ideas out. Storyboards, also really important, which we will be doing. Schematics, something like wireframing an app or mobile UI. Model building, we will not be doing. And then there's other kind of like more conceptual, I guess, like, trying to think of the right word, where you make like mock-ups that show the complete concept, even if the concept is not complete. So those are things like concept posters, where you make like a project proposal, using Wizard of Oz video making techniques to kind of prototype and show like your client or your, whoever you're working for, or even yourself, just to like kind of see how does this work in real life. So. Now I kind of want to show you some UX examples. And UX is not exclusive to the digital world. It is also in the product design world. It is in the art making world. Like, this is something that every creative person can be practicing and thinking about. And I think as designers, we should be taking the time to critically analyze our experience with everyday objects. So, next time you're at the store, next time you're at Target, and you're in like the home goods section or like the kitchen section, pick up tools and like see how they feel, and like, does this feel like it would work? But this is a really good example of things that would not work. And like, they were purposely designed that way. This was by a Greek architect, I believe. And they designed these, I believe they're 3D render mock-ups of just objects that would be completely uncomfortable to use. Just like, look at this toothbrush. Imagine like how you'd have to hold your hand to get, especially like your back teeth. Like, how would you position your hand and like hold this object against your teeth to like get it to actually work? Or like this fork, I don't know if you can see, but there's like a little chain between the handle and then the actual fork mechanism. Like these glasses, it would hurt. Those would hurt to wear. Or these rain boots that clearly do not keep your feet dry, which is the purpose of rain boots. I think I would say, just like as a mental exercise, like, think about how would you use these? How would it feel to use these? And again, like, when in your everyday life, like, pick up objects and see, like, is this bulky? Is this uncomfortable? Does this evoke negative feelings or emotions? Or does the design like kind of speak to something that I dislike, something that reminds me of something that's, a bad experience in the past? Definitely questions to ask yourself. And then when you're making work too, how is someone going to interpret this with their senses? And this is a print, obviously. It's not necessarily bad user experience, but it's just kind of funny that this juice company puts their little social media icons at the bottom, and most of us would read this as, oh, this company is on Facebook, this company's on Twitter. I understand that. But I think that might be confusing to generations who did not grow up with social media, who did not grow up with these visual clues that tell us that this company has a social media presence. So not necessarily bad, just, put yourself in the in the mindset or the shoes of somebody who's completely different than you, and think, how would they interpret this? And a mobile UI example of good and bad, and why. Same login page, except for there is a hierarchy on the right. There's no hierarchy on the left. And, why is this important? Why is it important to have, why is it important to have hierarchy? And, why wouldn't you put out an interface looking like this instead of this? Well, my first thoughts are, I could see myself, or someone else for sure, accidentally clicking, like putting in the email, putting in the password. And if you don't have that autofill password, you gotta remember it, and then you gotta type it all in, and there's numbers and special characters. It's a whole process if you have good passwords. And so I put that all in, and then I accidentally click sign up, or I accidentally click forget password. And I'm sure everybody here has forgotten a password, it's you have to take 3, 4, 5, 6 steps to reset that password. Especially if there's 2-step verification going on. You got to go to that recovery email or whatever that email is, or you get the text message, enter the code, all these extra steps. So if I accidentally hit this, which I could totally see somebody doing, that's going to turn me off from this application, and that's going to turn me off with the whole experience overall. This isn't designed stupid proof. And that's kind of what we want to be doing, is stupid proofing things, because somebody is going to inevitably not understand how to use something. Somebody's going to find all the problems with something that you're delivering. And just another thing in this left example is, I just think even if I just look at it through my peripheral vision, those all look like the same buttons, and I could see myself just kind of accidentally hitting that. Not if you're in autopilot, you just accidentally hit the wrong button, and then you go through that loop of forgot the password, or I didn't want to sign up, I already have an account. And what's really nice about this is the right one is, it doesn't make me feel like I will hit the wrong button on accident. And sure, it will happen that, but less likely in this example. So this is a product concept from Tomorrow Labs, who definitely check out their work. A lot of cool conceptual tech and design work that they do. This is an astronaut helmet that you would wear for a VR experience. And what I really like about this is I have used VR in the past. I've the Oculus, and I don't really like it. I get motion sickness, and I have a lot of I can sense what's going on outside of the headset, and there's also this weightiness, unbalanced weightiness with the Oculus. But I just imagine wearing this, which is a whole enclosure, and I feel this would be very immersive and kind of comfortable. Maybe not like standing and moving around. It does look a little bulky, but like I imagine like, these people sitting here like in comfortable seating. They're in this like enclosed environment, immersed in whatever they are, whatever's being like shown. The sound kind of like all within this space. It's like a cozy blanket VR experience. So this one's pretty interesting. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think this would be something cool to wear, or do you think this would be like completely uncomfortable? Like, just my opinion, and from my experience with VR, I think this would be great. But of course, like, not everyone is going to have the same negative experience with VR and have the same opinion. And then a good mobile UI, which is from Airbnb. I really like that this has all the information, all like the searchable information, like right in your face. You can enter your location, your dates, how many people right up at the top. Like that's like, here, we want to book you. Where do you want to go? Boom. And not only that, but like they'll list related city or like close by cities. What kind of getaway do you want? Having the pet option is like really awesome for a lot of people. But I think what really stands out to me, and like so many this is not like groundbreaking, but I love this map where you can compare prices based on proximity to whatever. So if you were visiting a city and you were, visiting a city for like a concert or a sports game, you could see how much your booking, your Airbnb would be in proximity to that. And that is so like, just like such a comfort to know like, okay, I only have to go this far to go to my event. It's going to cost me this, but, very convenient. Just like had a flashback from like the days of MapQuest, like pre-Google Maps, and just the navigation, how the navigation used to be, and we've come a really long way. So, and this is from IDEO. They're also a design firm. They do a lot of concept and research. They do really cool stuff. But this is a not only product design, but app design integrated with the product. What I really like about this is that, this is a app for managing your blood sugar for people with diabetes. And, when it comes to healthcare, it is like typically life or death. And for someone who is managing a health issue, yes, I would love to see, I don't personally have diabetes, but like I can imagine, I've had hyperglycemia when I was younger, and you get really faint and you don't feel good, and that's like so uncomfortable. And like not that I'm saying that's the same as diabetes, because it's not, but it's like knowing how to manage your negative symptoms, knowing how to negate any sort of uncomfortableness with your health and keeping yourself healthy, that is so important. And this like integrates from the blood sugar meter right into your app, where you can track your levels. But yeah, I really, really like this, and it's like very clear cut, easy to read, and it looks like there is some like user like diary tracking you can do too to help manage your symptoms. So just some ideas, inspiration or de-inspiration for you, but always thinking about like, who is the end user, who are the people who are going to use this, and like in something like this, not only is the the person with diabetes using this, but this is something that they can show their healthcare provider. Very clear-cut information. Because if you've ever dealt with like a chronic illness or anything, doctors want to see documentation so they can best treat you. And this is great management of the self and health. But yeah, so we have, for you, the UX portion this week, we have 3 assignments. First one is going to be discussion post. There's a reading. I think it's not that long, but I don't know. I'm biased. I enjoyed reading it. It's called Successful User Experience. I think it's chapter 1 of this whole book. First 10, 11 pages are probably the most relevant. The last few pages are kind of about the history, so, feel free to kind of speed read through that. And there are I did go in and highlight what I found important. You're going to answer some questions which are posted in the embedded in the reading PDF as well as on the discussion page. And then I have an audio recording from an interview with On Point, if anyone listens to On Point. And she did a whole segment about is customer service bad on purpose, and thinking about the experience that these companies set up for customers when they need assistance. And if you've ever been on hold with your cable company, your electric company, whatever, how frustrating is that? What works, what doesn't? So anyway, yeah, there's some questions around there. And then kind of talking about, there's a little bit of AI too, which we will do in kind of near the end. Anyway, the other 2 assignments, let's see, product review. So this is a discussion post. Let me just get a coffee real quick. So this is you're going to be doing a user review, a user experience review of 2 products. One product, tangible. One product is going to be web page or mobile UI, mobile app, whatever. But I want you to find a product. It could be at home. It could be at the store too. You don't have to buy it. You could just take a picture at the store, take a picture of you using it at the store, whatever, or holding it. And kind of just examine this product. Hold it in your hands and imagine using it. Imagine what it's like to use it. Imagine what it's like to hold it for a long time. Think about how does your body change when you interact with it. For example, this water bottle. Well, maybe it is a good example. This water bottle is bulky, right? My hand doesn't fit around it. And it's not necessarily uncomfortable, but I'm not holding water bottles for hours and hours and hours. But it also has this nice little handle here. And what's really nice about this is I could even use a carabiner and attach it to my bag. It has this flip out straw thing, which I like for, especially when I'm at the gym. I don't even need to touch the mouthpiece. It stays clean. I love that. Super easy to clean. I actually it may be a little large for my hand, but it holds a lot of water, and I keep it with me throughout the day. It's my emotional support water bottle, and it's clean, and when I'm done with it I just snap it back in. So that's my you use these items. And like I said, you don't need to buy anything. You can use something at home too, but really analyze how it feels, how does it evoke emotions, your senses, like does it smell? Does it have a weird plasticky smell? Is there any like visual signifiers of like cultural references? I mean, think about your past experiences and, really analyze, like, how does this make me feel? Was this designed for me? And not only that, but like, was this designed for children? Was it designed with elderly people in mind? Was it designed with people with handicap, mobility issues, whatever? Like, is this an accessible product for everybody? Another good example is I have this mouse. It's a Logitech MK Anywhere 3. So you see it's very slim. And my previous mouse had like more of a hump back here. So my hand I used it for like 6-7 years. My hand would fit over it so nicely. And then when I got this as a present, I was like, this is too small. I hate it. I absolutely hated it when I first got it. I mean, I'm using it now, so I learned to kind of adapt with it. But my initial emotional response to this, like, thank you for the gift, but it didn't feel right in my hand. And I think also, like, when you use a product for years and years and years, like, you have this emotional attachment to it. Like, that's completely normal. And it was, I think, part of that, like, giving up my old mouse, and then also, like, having this, like, not feel right, like, it's not the same. And, there was a negative response there. But I am using it. Well, it's also Bluetooth, so. You think of the pros and the cons, weigh them against each other, and, of course, not every product will be perfect, but, and then for the mobile UI, web page or app, go through an app. It could be any app. Kind of try to avoid Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, like, try to find something that, like, you think is a little more unique. Or maybe if there's an app in mind that is really bad, like, review that. But navigate through every page. How easy is it to log in? How easy is it to stay logged in? That's like an issue I have on some apps where it automatically logs me out after like X amount of days, or like after every use. I have to reset my password because I forget it. Anyway, navigate through everything. Do the buttons make sense? If you want to get to a certain location, do you have to think about it? Or does it seem like natural? Does it seem like somebody thought this through? Or not? So, think about these questions. How does it affect your senses? All the senses. I don't know what product you're going to choose, but how does this affect your emotions? Good or bad? Frustrated? Satisfying? If there's any cultural relevance, like, please include that. And how do you or us as the users have to, like, change our body around this object to utilize it? I'm thinking I have two vacuum cleaners. I have like a regular vacuum cleaner, and then I have one of those like those Shark tiny vacuum cleaners. And the Shark is cordless, and ever since I got that, I will not use my normal vacuum cleaner, like, ever, because my normal vacuum cleaner has a cord. I have to, like, hold the cord up, so I have to position myself strangely. So I'm not, like, vacuuming over the cord. Anyway, so, like, think about things like that. How do you change your body around it to use it the way it's intended, or most optimally for you? Is this accessible by other people? Talk about the materiality, color, the actual, like, tactile feel to it. So write that all out, do your review, include, don't need to worry about this. I wasn't going to make it a discussion at first, but don't worry about the recommended softwares. Include one photo of the product, just like alone, unused, just like on a table. One photo of you holding the product. So it should, if you can do your best, just get a photo of you like with your hand or body, whatever the product is, of course, in use. So like, how does the body fit around these products? And then for the web page mobile app, just like a screenshot. Make sure you include the name too, because I don't know, maybe I want to check it out. But yeah, so that is the product review. I hope it's fun. But yeah, put yourself in the shoes of other people. I think that's like the big thing. Like as designers, we need to have empathy, like not just sympathy, but like true empathy to do our best to understand other people and understand that we all have such unique experiences, and like even just within this class, like I can't even imagine some of the things that you guys have experienced that I have not. So, you guys have all very unique perspectives. Our other assignment for UX this week is, or last assignment for UX this week is a storyboard, which I will do a demo. You might kind of know how to do this. Some of you might know how to do this, and you might be familiar with like storyboards that like cartoonists or like animators use. I'm sure like most of us have seen like how, I would hope that most of you guys have seen like a storyboard before. But it's essentially like a step-by-step explanation of the story. How does the character, which would be your user, how does the character move throughout the scene, and how do they interact with other characters or things or blah, so on and so forth. So this is a storyboard of a user. It could be you, it could be a made-up person, I don't care. Whoever you want your user to be, but you need to pick someone. And how does this person interact with this teapot in particular? And I did leave the name, and I think I left a link to the product page if you guys want to check that out. But how do you use this? What do you use it for? What do people use teapots for? There's a lot of different ways a lot of different reasons someone would use this, not just to make tea, So I would recommend checking out that product page, kind of like looking through the specs. You could also watch like some YouTube reviews of it if that would help you. But you'll be drawing a frame by frame, 1 or 2 pages at most, frame by frame of like this user taking the teapot out of its home. Is that a cabinet? Is that a shelf? Is it a counter? Where does this teapot live? Where do you think the teapot lives? Where would you want a teapot to live? Mine lives in a cabinet because I don't use it a lot. But this is a beautiful teapot. I would leave that out. I would brag about it. So you start where they're taking it out, the steps that they take to heat up water, the steps that they take to pour it onto whatever. Are they pouring it into a cup, a mug, a bowl? What do you do? Are they making instant ramen with it? I don't know. Just some ideas. And then cleaning it out if they need to clean it out, putting it away. Like that's like, at least like 10 steps just to use a tea kettle, right? So you're going to be drawing just like the user interacting with this. And like I said, I will do a demo. Feel free to, check out this teapot, watch some YouTube reviews. Anyway, that's it. So, cool.